have a week of high school left. Oops. Hello potatoes, it's Cato the Potato, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you some of my high school stories. Basically, my high school years were from 8th grade up until 12th grade. Our high school actually split the 8th and 9th grade into the junior high, and 10th, 11th, and 12th into a high school. I did have to narrow down a lot of them, so if you like this video and would like a part 2 possibly, comment down below and just let me know. But yeah, let's just get on right into it. So right before my 8th grade year, I remember going to Korea to see my family, and one of the places that I went to get some of my stationery for the upcoming new year was a place called Daiso or Daiso. It's basically like a Japanese $1 convenience store. There were a bunch of very cute stationery. I was grabbing pencils, pens, notepads, whatever the heck I could get my hands on. And one of the things that is just part of like the Asian culture is to have a box cutter. Basically for us it's like the equivalent of scissors, and at Daiso there was like a pack of pastel box cutters, and so I got them and brought them back to the US, and when I was packing everything I put one in my pencil pouch. I'm pretty sure I accidentally knocked my pencil case over like right when the bell rang, and so I was like scurrying trying to get everything back in the pencil case, trying to get to my next class. And by the time I got to my next class, I noticed that my box cutter was not in my pencil pouch, and I couldn't go back to the classroom because I was here and I needed to take this class, and so I had to wait until the end of the day. And so I went to the classroom and the teacher was like, "You looking for something?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And he was like, "What are you looking for?" And I was like, just something that fell out of my pencil pouch." And he was like, then handed me my mint pastel box cutter and was like, "I know I'm probably supposed to be reporting this, but I know you're a good kid, giving you a warning, don't bring it to school." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And then I scurried off. I went home and probably put that box cutter and the remaining of my box cutters like deep within my drawers. And then I never brought anything remotely close to show. I don't think I even brought like scissors to school. This next story that I'm going to be telling, but before I tell it, I feel like I have to give a trigger warning. I'm not sure about which timestamp it would be, so I'll just put it in the description box down below. Mind you, I'm still in 8th grade. Like, I'm freshly turned like 13, 14, still getting into like the high school years, and like still dramatizing the fact after what I've seen in like movies, right? There's this kid in my class. He's kind of considered like the class clown, and everyone loves him. He lifts the spirits in the classroom, and I also liked him being in the class. Like, who didn't? I remember there was a time where it seemed like he was interested in me. He passed me a note in class one day, and it said like, "I think you're really cute, winky face," like actually spelling out winky face, and his number was at the bottom of the sheet of paper. At night or the next day I ended up texting him, and then one of the following nights we ended up calling. During our conversation, he's flirting with me. I was obviously flattered, and like I wasn't gonna be opposed to it, but I also didn't have like my boundaries set. Complimented me a couple times, and one of the things that he said that really set off a red alarm in my brain was that he wanted Blasian babies. Just for context, he's black, I'm Asian, and so for him to say that he wants Blasian babies did not sit too well with me. I just got super worried and self-conscious just after that. So for the following days, I would constantly be self-aware of the way that my body was affecting his body. It wasn't until like the last straw was him saying one morning that he had a dream about me, and I freaked out. I ended up going to my counselor, and she was like, "Yeah, that harassment, we need to go to the head counselor." And so I went to like the head honcho counselor. My counselor went with me just to make sure that my story was consistent throughout. I had to like write my statement onto a piece of paper. I ended up being removed from all of my classes. I don't know if anyone really found out the reason why he was removed, but if they did, they probably have some sort of vendetta against me. But if I'm being honest, I don't regret it, because afterwards I was so much more comfortable being in that classroom, and ultimately school is supposed to be like a safe learning space. And sorry, but also not, because yeah. I don't know how to move on from this story. Also in 8th grade was the time I first started crocheting. I have been knitting since I was like 5, and so I've always like worked with yarn and like being crafty, but crocheting, I really got into it was like in 8th grade. I think I ended up getting pretty good to the point where a lot of people asked me to make stuff for them, and like I ended up getting commissions and being paid to make like stuffed animals for people, including teachers. I had like a little underground business going on in school. Probably should not have happened because it was not school sanctioned. And then again, I was probably the only one who was actually selling something legal at school. Yeah, there was a teacher who asked me to make stuff for their kids, their grandkids. Like, I just had a whole operation going. I had to have a whole list of like clients that I had. It was so fun. And I honestly do want to get back into crocheting and like selling some stuff. A lot of my stories from my first high school is probably regarding band, so I'll probably do that in like a band related video. When I moved, I ended up not joining band. I kind of was trying to reinvent myself, you know, find new friends, and please don't do what I did in the following. In my AP Calculus AB class, as soon as I walked in the first day, I saw a really cute guy. I sat next to him, hoping that it would be like a Mean Girls like Aaron Samuels moment. It was not, and I ended up regretting that seating for the entirety of the year because I was just like in a little corner. He had his like own like senior friends, and I was just like the loner that was like in an island pretty much. I did not make friends in that class until February, and COVID happened in March. So, you know, I feel like I was just kind of known as the weird new kid. If it tells you anything, for my A-push class, we had to do a 1920s project. You could do the project by yourself or with other people, but I decided to do it by myself, and I was like, you know, during the 1920s, it was like the whole revolution. I was like, I want to do ed class for my presentation. And so I ended up, you know, showing like scientific images of parts on a giant screen in front of like 20 to 30 hormonal teenagers. One of the girls may or may not have made a remark at the guys being like, hey, you should pay attention just so you know where everything is. So, and then I want to say that there was like some senior stories, but honestly, because my senior year has been virtual for me this entire time, I don't really have any stories. Most of it's grouped like with work or like other activities that I could probably just make another video about. Okay, so do I really want to end on this note? I feel like I should talk about it just because I've touched on this in this video. This following story is going to be a story from 7th grade. I actually attended a private school from like 2nd grade up until 7th grade. It was a lot smaller, so our high school was kind of from 7th until 12th. 7th, 8th, and 9th was junior high, 10th, 11th, and 12th was senior high. So when I was talking to these upperclassmen about like classes and stuff like that, they told me about like a couple teachers that, you know, I probably will like, I probably won't like. There's one specific teacher where he was just, how do I say this? I'm only gonna mention this just because I'm like 99% positive that he no longer works at the school. I don't know what happened, but when I looked at the directory the other day, he wasn't on there. There were just alleged rumors that there were relationships happening with this teacher and some students. This teacher, he was a guy, and all of the alleged students were girls, and that's not okay. I got advice like from upperclassmen being like, if you have the teacher in the future, which considering you're a nerd, you probably will because he like teaches all the upper science courses. I'm like, great. But they were like, if you want to do well in his class, especially during tests and if you need help, wear a low cut top. Like that was literally advice that I got. I'm like younger than the whole like 8th grade stories that I was telling you at the beginning of this video. And, like me being the little nerd, I was obsessed with quantum mechanics. I was like, this is so cool. And guess who taught quantum mechanics at the school? I don't even remember if I got told all of these like advice before or after. I was asking him and like a bunch of questions that I had. He was like, oh, a 7th grader who's interested in quantum mechanics? What an interesting situation. And I remember he like took his hand and like put it like very close to like the small of my back. And like as soon as I like felt the presence of his hand, I like flinched and I was like, I probably had more questions, but I was like, I'm not dealing with this. I was like, okay, like, I need to go now. And he was like, no, like, did you have any more questions? I was like, nope. And so I scurried out. And I don't think I ever went back into the classroom. I don't think I ever talked to that teacher ever again. I really hope that he's no longer in the education system. I really hope that he's no longer in the field. Like, I hope he's far away from underage girls as much as possible. So yeah. Those are my high school stories. Again, if you guys want a part 2, I'm sure I can come up with more stories. If you like this video, please make sure to thumbs up and comment down below any stories that you have from high school. Hopefully they were pretty good and not as disturbing as mine, but feel free to share. The comment section's yours. Subscribe down below for more interesting content like this, and hope you have a great day. Wishing the best. So is Cato, rolling it out.